Hey, boy, we had some audio challenges there for a second. Sorry, everyone. Um, yeah, that was really weird. Okay. All right, there we go. Yeah, so anyway, I had the disclaimer up. Basically, opinions are gimbals. We're going to talk about the stock market. And I had to highlight that today my disclaimer of the day belonged to my eyeglass cleaner. And this says don't spray near your eyes. So in case you're looking to clean your glasses, that's just great information for you to have. Um, Keith is on assignment this week. He is on assignment in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, he just left this morning, I think. And I believe the assignment is something to do with wedding dresses. Now, why Keith is on that assignment, I have no idea, but maybe he's there for moral support. But when it comes to fashion, the first person I think of is Keith Tyner. Can you tell we have a lot of fun together? I mean, I've only worked for the guy for 20 something years. And yeah, it's just a great ride. So I hope that you guys are all doing really well today. And we're gonna get into the markets, but before we do, I want to share with you over the weekend I had such a good time. I listened to two graduation speeches, and one of them was Jerry Seinfeld's. And I would encourage you to check out Jerry Seinfeld's Duke graduation commencement address. It was very good, and of course, it's funny, but it's very good. It was inspiring to me. And then another friend of mine, my good buddy, Christian, he gave a commencement address to Anderson University. And I've never had a friend give a commencement address, but he did. And he did such a great job. And the thing that really stuck out to me is he highlighted purpose. And it's just had me being curious, thinking deeply about why do I wake up in the morning to do what I do? Uh, why would I ever wake up in the morning to do what I do 10 years into the future or whatever, wherever you are in life? Um, what is it about today that you exist? Why are you here? What's going on? And if you really break it down and start asking yourself, what is my purpose? Uh, I would encourage you to do this exercise by yourself. You could go buy Rick Warren's book, Purpose Driven Life. I think I read it like 50 years ago or whenever that came out, but I don't remember a thing about it. Okay. Maybe you do, but purpose, it's such a deep and unique thing for each of us. And when we have purpose, when we know our purpose, um, it sure does make life uh, adventuresome. And so I started to dig pretty deep on this, and for a long time, I thought that my purpose was to be an encourager, and um, I have some natural abilities to do that, some God-given abilities to talk with people, to listen and hear them out. But I did. I went through a season probably 10 years ago where I just didn't want to encourage anybody. I was tired of it. And I remember telling God I was tired of it. And it's almost like he said, good. And, he wanted to do that through me instead of me doing it through myself. But purpose is a big deal. And if you're thinking through, like, well, what is my purpose? Um, some people might say, well, my purpose is to be a dad. Well, what happens if you outlive your children? Do you still have a purpose? Um, or my purpose is, I am a construction worker, or I'm an artist. Well, what happens if you lose your hand? Can you still do your purpose? And so, if you keep digging down to why are we here? What are we doing? Why do I wake up in the morning? What's going on May 17th? Um, I think where you'll find yourself is you'll be getting to the core of the reason for your existence. And it's a it's a great thing. It's a great thing to go through. And I would encourage you guys to think through the reason that you're here. And if you want to dialogue about that or have a conversation about it, I would love to hear you out. I'd love to share with some of the things that I've been thinking about. We had a great team meeting talking about purpose yesterday, and we heard from Libby, Amanda, Phil, and Keith, and I think it was one of our best team meetings yet because it got to the essence of what are we doing here? Why do we come in here every day? And it was just really good. So, speaking of influence, uh, there's a few books over the years that have really stacked up and meant something to me. Early on, the book of Proverbs has meant a lot to me early on, and it still means a lot to me today. I think Proverbs might be the best business book that is out there. It's a great book for a lot of different things, but King Solomon, he wrote most of it. And can you imagine being David's son? That would have been pretty cool. I bet you would have had like a Tesla chariot, life would have been pretty good, lots of grapes, but it would have been just amazing to hang out with David. Um, Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. That was a book in my early 20s when I was really struggling to make any money, to get any traction in life. I was so broke. I didn't even have a TV. I had a studio apartment. I think I ate spaghetti and tuna fish like every other night is on rotation. Didn't have a girlfriend. I had nothing going for me, guys. Nothing. It was terrible. And Norman Vincent Peale's book, The Power of Positive Thinking, was such a wonderful thing. And it popped back up again here recently because one of my good friends had been reading it. And some of these great things from your past come back at you, and you can see it with a new lens. Let me tell you about the one that is current. And so this book right here, Nick Murray, The Excellent Investment Advisor, riveting topic, huh? Um, I read this in 1998 when I first started in the investment business. I think my uncle encouraged me to read this, if I remember right. And again, 1998, I didn't know squat. And so I'm reading this book and thinking, oh my gosh, I have to somehow retain all of this knowledge and then go out and tell people everything I know. And and now I'm rereading it again, and I get to see it with 20 plus years of client relationship, market investment experience, and the wisdom inside a book like this for someone like me is is very inspiring. It's very humbling. And so I'm curious, do you have a book that you've liked or has really shaped your life? I know I see who's on the call today, and I know a couple of you are avid readers. And so if you're an avid reader, boy, how do you narrow it down? But if you have a book that's meant a lot to you, feel free to email me. I would love to know what it is, and I'll either read it or I'll listen to it. My phone has a Libby app from the Carmel Public Library that I can read and listen to books, and I would really like to know what book has helped make you tick. Um, I think it's Charlie Tremendous Jones. My friend Don shared this with me, and he says you'll be the same person you are today in 5 years, except for the books that you read and the people that you meet. And so there are some real treasures there. But yeah, please either shoot me an email, or if you're watching this on the replay on Facebook or YouTube, you can drop it in the comments, and maybe somebody else will benefit from what you've picked up in the past. Okay, man, it's been a great week. Let me personally, it's been just a fantastic week. We have a senior in high school, and if you've ever had a senior in high school, it's just a great time. And we've gone to a couple uh, awards banquets and year-end celebrations. It's really just been a lot of fun. And then we've got another one who's graduating from elementary school. And let me tell you, they won the tug of war championship yesterday. The tug of war is the best event on field day if you have the right friend. And if you have the right friend, the tug of war, it's bragging rights for the rest of your life. You can go back in time and say, hey, you remember the tug of war? You remember who won that? Yeah, we did, because we had the anchor. And so, anyway, it's just been a really fun week at our house. And like I said last week, really looking forward to summer, but it's been pretty good this week, too. I read a lot of financial stuff throughout the week. Some of it comes at me, some of it I seek after. And one of the things I was seeking after was car insurance. Isn't that exciting? Um, and the reason I was seeking after it is Keith and I were having some conversations on insurance, and then I added a new vehicle to our fleet. And we have, Caroline and I, we have two other drivers. And so this was the topic. And I think this was a New York Times article originally. It had popped up on like my Yahoo News or Yahoo Finance page is where I saw it. Maybe you saw it too. Emily Flitter, I believe. Did you see this article? Why is car insurance so expensive? Um, I really appreciated reading through the article because it is expensive. And a lot of the blame goes back to the government shutdown of businesses. You like how I called it that? Uh, COVID. And things just got out of whack. Supply chain, we haven't heard that for a while, but that was sponsored by the government shutdown of businesses. And used car prices just shot through the roof. Remember? It was your used car actually became a rising asset, appreciated asset. That's unusual. And so with used car prices going higher, making spare parts became a challenge as well, because you had assembly lines shut down. And if you had a car accident, it took weeks and weeks and weeks. Rental cars were tough to come by, and that's just now catching up to premiums. And so premiums have just shot through the roof. 22%. This article says 22% year over year increase. And so Keith has referenced the 1970s a few times on this call, and how this time reminds him of the 1970s. Um, I was born in 75, so I really, the only reference I have is from anything I read. But I'll tell you this, it's just expensive. It's expensive time to be living. And if you've started to see your uh, rates rise, your car insurance rates rise, I'd like to give you some thoughts to think about on that. Number one, I find tremendous value in having an agent, someone I can talk to and say, hey, what's up? Can you tell me more about what I have, what coverages I have? Do I need to increase my coverages? Do I need to decrease it? And I would encourage you to know what your policies actually are. A good friend of ours is an attorney here in Indianapolis, and he recommends that people with car insurance have a uninsured, underinsured umbrella attachment to their car insurance. People, when I talk to them, say, "Yeah, Doug, I've got an umbrella." And that umbrella might be out there to, protect you if somebody trips on the sidewalk in front of your house, or falls off your trampoline, um, breaks their arm, walking the dog up your driveway. That umbrella could help you there. But there's a different type, and that type is the one that attaches to your car insurance. And so basically, if someone who's not insured or has the state minimums, and the state minimums are diddly squat. And so if you were to get T-boned by one of those policyholders or lack of policyholders, you could bleed through your car insurance very quickly. And so what the attachment rider does is gives you some extra money to help you transfer risk of loss or transfer risk of medical bills. And so I would highly encourage you to ask your agent about a underinsured, uninsured umbrella attachment to your auto policy. And if you want to talk specifically about that, feel free to give me a call. We don't sell car insurance at Gimbal worldwide, but we want to make sure that you're covering all your bases. And so car insurance, it's gotten pretty expensive. One of the things that the Nick Murray, excellent investment advisor, addresses, he had a he has a chapter in there. It's called "The Heart Over the Chart," and I just, when I was rereading that, I had to smile because what do we look at every week on here? Charts. What do I love to look at in the morning when I wake up and I head to the coffee shop, I grab a coffee. First thing I pop up, guys, I pop up a bunch of charts. I mean, a bunch. On Mondays, particularly, I look at hundreds of stock charts. And the reason why I do that, it goes to the heart, because I believe that your money, your investments are the fuel to what you're about. It's the thing that helps drive your family needs, and it can greatly influence it. And so we want to protect what is yours. We want to grow what is yours. And uh, by looking at the chart, it's just a simple measure of supply and demand. What is appreciated in the marketplace today? Where is there a lack of supply? And then how do we go for that? But Nick Murray's right. The most important thing is what do you have going on? What are you about? What is it that makes you tick? What is it that you're hoping for and dreaming of? And those are the types of conversations that are just flat out the best. And so, with that in mind, I do want to give you a take on my view of what I'm seeing in the marketplace today. I'll share my screen with you. Okay. Each week we look at the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and some others. And so let's start off there. This is a daily chart of the S&P 500. Okay. Let's see. Make this a little bigger for you. There we go. And my goodness, what a nice uptick the S&P 500 has been really since the fall. Do you see my red line here? That's basically the trend right there since October, the October lows. And we've had a pullback in the last month. I don't know if you guys even realize it, because your statements only come out monthly. If you're someone who checks it more regularly, you're probably seeing it. But we went through a really tough period this past month, and prices of the S&P 500, these are prices up here, and these vertical lines represent what the price did during that day. So near the top of the line is the high of the price that day. Near the bottom of the line is the low for that day. And so prices started to move south. And then here recently, within the past week, we've really had a great week. And this is not too surprising to see, because the demand for stocks started to come back. We've talked about this a little bit, but I think what the market has been looking for, the market has been looking for an end to this Fed tightening, and the market would love to see, an interest rate cut. Maybe that will happen. I really don't know, but it does appear that the market is, or the Feds anyway, they haven't been talking about raising rates, and so that's been a positive. So that's the main thing the market's looking for right now. We are coming out of earnings season. It's been a good earnings season for stocks and for companies overall. And so in the S&P 500 index, the largest 500 US based, most of them global companies doing business worldwide, they are represented here. And then I want to skip this, because that covers pretty much the general market, okay? And what I wanted to highlight for you guys today is something we haven't done in a long time. And I'm going to pop up this is a fund. This is an exchange fund. This could be bought off the internet through your brokerage firm or whatever. And I'm not recommending this, okay? This is not a recommendation. This is just an example. And so this is a core US bond fund. So this is going to be basically big companies, similar to the ones that are in the S&P 500, but instead of stocks, these are the bonds. Okay, so these are the bonds that they're raising, and I want to show you something just wild. So this, again, to the right is where we are today, the price, and it hasn't hit a high. The last time this was at a high was August 14th, 2020. And so bonds have been a tough place to invest. And, if you're someone who believes in asset allocation, and I was trained that way, guys. You put a little here, you put a little there. And so if you're someone who believes in asset allocation and you had money in bonds, boy, it's just been really, really tough. Hit that high of 119. We're at 96 today. And interestingly enough, an investment like this is paying about 3.4, 3.5%. And where that's significant, and we've talked about this, this is the Treasury bill. This is a 13-week Treasury. And this, where it says, do you see this? Let me get my arrow. Okay, see that? 52, 55. What that's telling you is this is paying 5.2%. And so the short-term interest rates on something like a very short duration, short time frame fixed income investment is paying more in dividends than a longer term bond like the one I just showed you. And so anyway, it's very interesting to see that the short-term rates have held up, and eventually, this will turn the other way. But I share this with you because it highlights the importance of being flexible with your strategy and your money. And so, anyway, that's the latest update from my end. I really enjoy talking with you guys this morning. And if you would, drop me a note. Drop me a note about what book has influenced you. Maybe that's going to make my summertime reading list. And you guys just keep the faith. And I will see you next week. Okay? Bye bye.